All right, fastest 15 minutes of social media, fastest 15 minutes anywhere. And my name is Dr. Judson Powell. Anyway, want to talk about, I'm going to put my lawyer cap on right now. Diddy is not really guilty of racketeering and RICO, all of that stuff, all of this. That's not what he's a nasty guy. He's a freaky guy. He's an abuser, but I think they already settled the abuse stuff in that other case. And I think it was a settlement, and I think that's probably, where it should end. Because all of this other stuff, it just seems like stuff that was consensual. And I mean, come on, the guy's in the entertainment industry, and the guy was throwing parties. Here's my other thing. And I've been around the entertainment business my entire life. Pretty much, I got my first job in radio when I was just 13 years old. So I understand like how that, I've seen this whole business, and I've seen it from all different perspectives and everything like that. And the one thing that I will say is that in the beginning, because when Diddy first came out, like when all the whole bad boy thing and all that came together, there was a lot of people that were still, very shocked about the entire thing, because we were like, well, first it was like Andre was there, and then it was like all of a sudden, Andre was gone, and then it was like everything was through Diddy. But here's the thing, but Diddy was known as the party guy. He was, that's what he was known for. He was known for partying. That's what he was known for. Almost like the same thing, like they talk about Russell, and the same thing when Russell, like when Def Jam and all that stuff was coming around. What Russell was the party guy. He threw the best parties and all that kind of stuff. So he was able to attract all of the people, necessary in order to fill the venues, because it's not just about the music. It still was about business and being able to fill the venues and be able to bring people into venues and be able to, sell tickets, merchandise, etc. Just like it is now. I mean, it's the same thing, just at a different level, I guess. Probably the shows and all that kind of stuff. Because I remember like the old shows, like if you had like some pyrotechnics or something like that, and and then that was like, ooh, it was like, wow, back then it was like something like supremely, I don't know, it was just different, put it that way. But nowadays that's just standard fare, and the other thing is, now we live in the time of features and small scale production. In other words, the albums and all of that are not, people don't make albums, or I guess they try to or whatever, but it's not the same as it used to be, because you go get the album, got the liner notes, you got this, that, and the other thing, and it's cool, right? It's all right. But for the most part, most of this stuff now is that came from the culture of, and here's the thing, it came from the Michael Jackson culture. Because Michael Jackson, like when Michael Jackson first started, he started that whole thing with, you can only play the record that I put out. Like that's kind of how the record companies roll with him. It was like, okay, if Man in the Mirror is the single right now, then Man in the Mirror is the only record that you can play, and it's the only video that you can play, and it's the only, and they were like seriously like going after people, like trying to protect the copyrights and all that kind of stuff. So when Diddy came around, Diddy, like it was kind of like a new day, a new era. But see, because back then everything was like real rigid, real stringent, and Diddy kind of like blew it open. And it was like, okay, because people were at first, remember, we came out of disco, right? Then we went into the, like we had the whole disco thing. Then we had techno and house music and all of that kind of stuff. And, the whole club, all the club music, the Chicago, New York influence, the Detroit influence. We had all of these different genres of music. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's like, out of the woodwork. Here, then you get Prince, and you get all of that, and then all of a sudden here come the 90s, and it's like everything was Diddy. And so everybody wanted to be at Diddy's parties. Everybody. It's like you can't. That's why it's disingenuous now for people to sit up there and go like, oh, I didn't, and let me get my own personal thing straight, because from the first time I met Diddy, and he probably doesn't even remember this, but I was driving in the limousine with he and Mary J. Blige. And that was the first time I ever met him. And from the first time I ever met him, he just gave me bad vibes. And if y'all know, I'm a mystic. So I'm a very, very spiritual person. And I'm an empath, and I get people's auras and all of that. All right. So the bottom line is, I met that man. I was like, oh, this guy is horrible. I seriously, I got the worst negative vibrations and everything else. But you got to understand that that's just me. But that doesn't mean that other people won't be attracted to him, right? Because remember, and now I got to go into some metaphysical stuff, but in the law of polarity, right? Everything has an opposite, right? So in polarity, there's an opposite for all this stuff, right? Or there's a different balance on the scale for everything. But yeah, I didn't, and then not to even mention that, and then some stuff happened with the performance with Mary J. Blige, so I guess my spidey senses must have been right that day. But either way, but everybody else, and a lot of, I'm not saying everybody else, but a lot of people were attracted to what he was selling. And even the freak offs and all of that, whatever it was that was going on, people were coming. If you got all those pictures, all these celebrities and all that, but he's a party man. He's the entertain. That's what he does. They're there to entertain people. They're there to make, to make you frolic and have fun and all of that. That's what it is. So for you to think that he's going to be inviting people to whatever, of course he's going to invite, whatever these witnesses that they call, what to do with the mask and all of that. Yeah, that's, you're not going, you're just not going to invite, you're not going to invite Mother Teresa to the dang freak off. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, bringing them across state lines. Oh yeah, he clearly brought people. He brought nobody. It's like, look, those people wanted to be there. Come on, you're in P-Diddy's mansion, all that kind of stuff. And people, that stuff is, regardless of what you say or what you think, that stuff is sexy to people, or they're curious about it, or whatever the reason. And then the other thing is, and this is something that I also know to be fact, that, because people have told me, it's like, look, although it is, I guess, legally it's hearsay, but I've heard that he always would tell people, like, at such and such and such a time, Cinderella, I'm about to turn into, to whatever at 12 o'clock. So whatever you got to do, and which lines up with what Denzel said, because Denzel was like, throughout my entire career, what did I always realize? He said to leave before the devil showed up. He said, because every single time the devil is going to show up. And I can tell you that even from being in radio and television, all the time that I was in, you could get into anything that you wanted to get into, but those are choices that you make. And a lot of, and I believe a lot of this stuff, this culture of I'll come back 40 years, like the whole Bill Cosby thing, the whole, whatever. I think R. Kelly done been in jail. Look, R. Kelly has been in jail longer than any other sex offender in the history of sex offenses. I think all of these men need to be released. It's like, and if they do it again, then lock them up forever. But the bottom line is they're doing 150 million times more time than any of these other guys that have done anything. And I believe it's a witch hunt. They have literally wiped out that entire 90s. Everything that was hot in the 90s is gone. Bill Cosby, gone. R. Kelly, gone. Think about it. Everybody in between. Whitney Houston, gone. Michael Jackson, gone. Everybody that came out of that decade is gone. And you can say, y'all call everybody a conspiracy theorist. Oh, this person is a conspiracy theorist. That's bullcrap. These people are dead, y'all. Wake the F up. That's all I'm saying. Realize that this is a witch hunt. That man, the man, like I said, with the whole thing with the beating and all that, I said that. I canceled him then. But I'm also an attorney and I'm a lawyer. And the fact of the matter is that as a lawyer, I look at this as, look, we knew, and even what's his name, the guy that worked on the OJ case, he came out and said, Shapiro, the lawyer that worked on the OJ case, what did he come out and say? He said, look, it's hard to defend yourself when they don't give you no bail or no bond. Why did they give that man no bond? Why? All of his family is here. His family is at the courthouse every day. He got places that you could put him up. You could put every kind of ankle monitor, whatever. You could put a sonar. You could stand a guard, whatever you want to do, and make him pay for it. Which is what y'all do anyway. Y'all don't put ankle monitors on people for free. Y'all make them pay for it. So why can't y'all do that to him? Where is he gonna go? And even if he did leave, that's okay. But what I'm saying is, but there's no, in my opinion, and this is in my opinion, there is no clear-cut victim. It seems to me like most of this, and the other thing is, because it went on for so long, it just appears that everybody, either ratified, just by time, or it was consensual. That's it. I mean, there's no other real way to look at it, and then to come up there and try to say that he's like a RICO, racketeering, and trafficking and all that, he wasn't doing that. And the other thing is, and those laws are preserved for people who are running an actual legitimate, ongoing criminal enterprise. And that's not where Diddy was making his money. He was not making his money trafficking women. That's the thing. See, they want you to think that he was like he's moving thousands of women or something like that. That's not what he was doing. He was getting a couple girls, for the party, I mean, come on, y'all, think. That's what he was doing. He was trying to get girls for the party. Done all the time, every day, all day, in what I've seen. So, and to me, that's all it was. But it doesn't work. It's not worthy of life in prison. Not like that. No. And on the abuse thing and all that, I think he should do time for the abuse. I'm just like Judge Mathis said, I think he should do time for the abuse. But I don't think it should be more. I don't think it should be more than 7 years or anything like that. I think it should be 7 years and probably get out like 4 or 5. That's what I believe. That's what I would do for the brother. Anyway, I love y'all. Fast 15 minutes is up. Please subscribe, hook up to the channel. I forget all that stuff because I really don't. I just do this for fun. So anyway, I'm not present. If you love me, you love me. If you don't, That's what they got. That's what they got scroll and what and block for.